Hey guys, welcome to Hoshinshin's EU4 Game 30. This is session 6 recap. I've been running on a very tight schedule lately, so I didn't have enough time to actually make recaps for every session, but at least all the videos from the in-game sessions are on YouTube. Now that's a good thing. Now, as we need to cover 6 sessions, I'm gonna try to be very brief here, but we need to go through a couple of things. So first of all, going into this game, I picked Serbia, not knowing that Hash will be on the Ottomans, and I was expecting Tornado to be on them. Tornado probably being the best player or one of the best players in the group, and then Hashishin's not that far behind him, but I still think Tornado is generally a better player. And might be or might not be the truth. Doesn't really matter. In any case, I saw Tornado as a much bigger threat, and the game was pretty much looking impossible at that point, as I don't think I can actually trust him in a long term. Anyway, what ended up happening, Tornado was removed from the game for some reasons. I'm not gonna go into that at this point. It doesn't really matter. And in the end, we had Hashinshin playing Ottomans, and then Hungary being played by one of the most aggressive players in the group, and that's Erling. That didn't really suit me, as I knew, okay, there was a possibility to kill Ottomans, but the problem is, if we did kill the Ottomans, the division of the Ottoman lands and Balkans would be probably very bad for me, and I'd always be behind Hungary, like half of their dev, half of their income, with very limited expansion potential unless I go into Egypt, which at that point looked really hard, as we had Egypt player. I don't know if we had Ethiopia from the very beginning, and we might have had it. I do think he joined later on, but maybe not true. We also had Tunis, we had Morocco. Entire Europe was filled. We had 40 players in the very beginning, so quite a bit of people there. So I decided to go with a different route and take Hippo's approach of playing Serbia last time, although I don't think he hit it the proper way. What we wanted to do was go into Tunis and chew into Africa, which ran into problems immediately. First of all, that strategy is actually very complex, and you have to have a couple of things in mind if you want to actually do it properly. First of all, if you do manage to get a lot of land in Africa, you're gonna need a lot of states. You're gonna need to convert some cultures, and the monarch point generation is extremely important. Also, the timings are extremely important, and basically you need perfect diplo to actually survive long enough until your African land is set up. Now, like I mentioned, we ran into a lot of problems in first couple of sessions. The first session was basically as terrible as it always gets. I had a deal with the original Tunis player. He was gonna just sell me those 2 or 3 provinces, and I was gonna get my path into Africa and just, have a nice game without any enemies there. But unfortunately, the new Tunis player refused the deal. So what we had to do, and yeah, by the way, with that strategy in mind, I knew, okay, so Hungary and Ottomans are definitely gonna be a threat throughout the entire game. There's not much I can do about them. If I go and kill one, then whoever I'm gonna kill, like whether it's Hungary or Ottomans, I'm gonna definitely be weaker, much weaker than the remaining one. So I can't really actually do that. What I need to do is to make sure that they are more or less equal, at least for the very beginning, until Austria, Russia, Poland, and all the other people around them become much stronger, so they can actually do something about them and stop them. that means that my biggest potential threats are actually colonizers, which include Spain, Portugal, and England. So I had to find a way to get rid of them, and that kind of worked out. Now, because of Tunis being allied to Morocco and both Spain and Portugal wanting to go into Morocco without really any big reason to do so in the first session, I figured I might be able to make a huge coalition against them. Or that's targeted mostly towards Tunis, but Morocco was the initial spark which actually made us join in the coalition against them. So what ended up happening was we made a coalition of Serbia, Spain, or I mean Castile, Portugal, and Naples, as Naples wanted to expand into Tunis. The coalition against Morocco and Tunis. That war was extremely difficult, and what ended up happening was Naples pretty much died in the first session. I managed to get, I think, these 3 provinces. Morocco also went bankrupt. Tunis was 20 loans in a debt. I don't know if he also went bankrupt. I don't think he did. Portugal went bankrupt, which is just insane when you think of it. Portugal should be one of the richest countries, although in the mid game and late game, not so much in the early game, but still. Which suited me perfectly, although it delayed a lot of things. My expansion into Africa was delayed, my income was reduced by a lot due to being blockaded by Tunis for a long time. The devastation kicked in, and everything terrible that could have happened. Also, you know how Serbia starts with a shit heir that you need to disinherit right away, and a very old king. Okay, so the initial heir was killed successfully, and we got a new amazing heir, but he died. Of course, he died in the first year of his reign, and I got a terrible successor, and also Regency Council of 111 for 15 years. Well, 14 years, but yeah, you get the point. Now that was terrible, and then I think throughout the entire game, 4 of the amazing rulers that we could have had died either before getting to the throne or in the first 2 years of their reign, which was really devastating. And the only way I was able to keep up and mark points was because of constant show strengths on Albania, Bosnia, and Wallachia. I did 5 show strengths on them. I think that's 500 monarch points in each category, which is a lot. Like, that's crazy amount. Okay, so that kind of compensated a bit, but we didn't, because of those wars being humiliate wars or show strength wars, we weren't able to expand rapidly. So Bosnia was not taken by me, Albania wasn't taken by me. I only took Ragusa because that was essential for slightly more income and to be able to join HRE. So we successfully did that. The diplomatic situation was pretty bad. Austria was extremely weak, which is very important for Serbia when you play. Like, A, you need to join HRE, B, you need someone that can counter either Hungary or Ottomans early on, and that's the only one that can actually do that is Austria. Now, the Ottomans won the war against Mamluks, and because of Castile and Portugal being extremely weak, France was able to expand into Iberia without any contest, and Burgundy also died. This was just released by Austria, so that doesn't really matter. Now the session 2 was also a terrible one. First of all, I had a DC that slowed me down a lot for first quarter of the session, and then also there was a Mali player, which was terrible because that prevented me from having a very easy expansion into Africa. And then Hungary did something stupid. In the late phase of session 1, there was a coalition against Ottomans, and they got destroyed. Like, Hungary got all of this land. Now, I thought that at that point Hungary might just continue eating into Ottomans, and Hungary is actually extremely strong at that point. Now, fortunately for us, that didn't happen, but what was even more devastating was that Hungary, for some reason, decided to go into war against me. And that was a terrible thing, as Hungary's army was literally invincible with the black army and all the modifiers and his quality. I think he went quality innovative. Like, those ideas are insane when you stack modifiers so early. Finally, I got some help from Ottomans and Poland, and like all three of us combined were barely able to beat Hungary. Barely. Like, it was so disgusting watching those battles, and you can actually check that on YouTube if you want. But yeah, we were getting destroyed. We somehow won. I got some of the Croatian land there. The Ottomans got all of their stuff back. I know what Poland gained. Poland gained two provinces which he wasn't happy with, as I couldn't give him a gold mine. He had no claim on that, and that actually costed a lot of war scores, so he broke the alliance. Anyway, Austria went on Hungary, which had 20,000 dead, and he was basically out of manpower. He was running full merc army, huge death, everything in just horrific situation, and Austria was destroyed by Hungary. Like, it was ridiculous. So, okay, Austria lost the war, and in the beginning of the session 2, what happened was Hungary declared war. Actually, that's the end of the session 2 and the beginning of the session 3. Hungary declared war on me, like the truce break. I haven't cored all this stuff here, and it was just devastating for my country, and the only saving grace was that Hungary was going bankrupt. But I needed enough time to prompt his bankruptcy and to be able to beat him, as he outnumbered me like 4-1 at that point, or something crazy like that. So I called Ottomans in again, and Ottomans got a separate deal. They took Transylvania, but the Hungary stayed in the war with us, and I was just not able to beat their army before he went bankrupt. Lost Kosovo, I think few more regions there, and then in the middle of everything, I made one of the worst decisions ever, and just broke into Hungary. I knew he couldn't fight me, but there was no need for the war, as he had very high separatism, and the rebels were just gonna give me the land back. So I wasted a lot of admin points, wasted war exhaustion and everything. So that wasn't bad. That wasn't good at all. And in the middle of that, also we got attacked by Mali in Africa. So I lost there as well. Tunis did well. Okay, so what happened in the middle of the session, I mean between sessions, I convinced Naples player to remain on Naples and actually form Tunis on his own, which he did, and it was a good move. It was a pretty decent run, but like when I asked for help, I only received limited help from him. And definitely the war against Mali was winnable, even though I was getting destroyed by Hungary. But Tunis didn't want to commit so much, and I got this like God. Especially that now he's claiming that he helped me a lot, and then I backstabbed him, which is just not true. First of all, he didn't help me at all, and second thing, I actually didn't backstab him in the like normal way of actually backstabbing a person. He joined the war against me, and he was gonna kill one of my allies. I had to call Ethiopia and whatever. Not gonna go into that. It's a boring story. Whatever. So Hungary died, but my gold mine Kosovo had 99% autonomy. We were getting no money for a very long time. Now, session 4, I managed to somehow recover, go into Africa, finally kill Mali after a devastating war. I mean, we were fighting against twice our troops, but the quality was so high on my side that he couldn't actually beat me, and if he did beat me in the long run, he was not going to be able to survive, as he had 30 corruption or something like that. And also no institutions. He had more money, but without tech, without institutions, it's not fun to play an African country. So finally we got that piece of land that we wanted for a very long time. The situation in Europe was, escalating rapidly as France was getting completely out of control. The Ottomans were also strong, but I don't think they were as strong as France. Now, I think KB made a series of mistakes playing France this game. He had a pretty good start and a lot of free expansion, but the ideas he picked, quantity, humanist, it does give him a lot of morale, a lot of force limit, huge manpower, but he lacks the quality for mid-early game, and that proved to be the case later on. Okay, so session 4 opened with Pope attacking me for Africa. I tried to make a deal with him, that didn't happen. I told him, okay, so, I have allies, he didn't trust me. First of all, there was Russia that was supposed to defend me, which didn't happen, but I didn't really seriously count on that. So Ottomans came into my aid, and as soon as the Ottomans joined, France, Austria, I don't know, one more country from the north joined against me. That was terrible. It was a devastating war. Finally, because of Poland, Lithuania, and Russia declaring war on the Ottomans at the same time, we were forced to peace out. Ottomans white peaced. Pope, which made Austria quite angry, as Austria wanted Transylvania. France wasn't actually that interested in fighting me. It was mostly the war against Ottomans. So in a way, I was actually protecting Ottomans, as France always wanted to go against Ottomans, and the same goes for Austria. So Ottomans owed me a lot there, because I was kind of stubborn against Luke. He decided to take entire Croatia from me. Now, that didn't actually end up quite well for him, as you can see. So what happened next was, okay, I decided to fully commit to helping Ottomans against Poland and Lithuania. We destroyed them. There was a white peace there. And then the Ottomans and Ethiopia went in a separate war against Tunis. And what happened there was, Tunis was allied to Pope. Pope got called in, and I don't know why he accepted a call to arms. It was very obvious what Ottomans and Ethiopia were doing. They were able to return Croatia to me, which was amazing. So we got that back, and then finally in the sessions 5 and 6, I was able to beat Pope twice and get a lot of land in Africa, as you can see here. So this land was exchanged a couple of times, but finally I ended up holding it. And right now we are in a very good position. As you can see, I'm behind in Diplo tech, and it's gonna be like that for some time, as we have to convert all of the culture here to Serbian. Now, this is also a very complex thing that you cannot do without proper ideas. As you can see, we currently have religious ideas, which gives us minus 25 culture conversion cost, and on top of that, I also had a policy for 25% more, so that's 50% culture conversion cost less. Without that, I don't think you can do it this way. You would have to accept a lot of cultures and then convert some, but with those modifiers, I was able to convert pretty much all of the Africa that I own. Now, it took a lot of time to integrate those, as I was vassal expanding into Africa. There's really no other efficient way to do it. And finally, after 6 sessions, we actually have the good income and decent force limit. Like, you go here, you can see that we have 150 force limit. Now, That's still less than anyone else in Europe, but we have really good quality. We have 45 cavalry compatibility, 20 infantry compatibility, and I can even boost that to 55 cav compatibility with Cossacks. Like, Cossacks are giving us a lot of strength here. From these steppes, if you don't know, Africa actually has a lot of those, so you can get Cossacks there. If you're an eastern country, that's one of the benefits. And also, all of these winged hussars have shock damage bonus 10%, so in the shock phase we're dealing ridiculous amounts of damage. Now, compared to the diplomatic situation elsewhere, the Ottomans are currently allied with the Pope. That alliance was targeted against France, and France was actually beaten by Pope and Ottomans in one war, and the other war by Prussia and Austria. Prussia in this game was formed by Denmark, which was really interesting. And just to show you how much France has fallen behind. Okay, so he had all of that. He had Burgundy. He obviously had this part of the, well, Provence. Right now, we have 183 income, and that's gonna go up by 10 as soon as I finish these buildings. So attack to France. France has only 185. So he has 2 more income than me. Clearly he has much higher force limit. He has 300, that's double my force limit. And I'd say we have more or less equal quality because he has Western troops, but still. Now the next step for us, I think this session well, definitely the primary target is Pope, which I want to get all of this land. As you can see, he actually built regimental camps in every one of these provinces. So getting those would probably boost our force limit to like 200, 220. Not to mention that he still has 2 gold mines over there that are pretty decently developed. I only have 1. Fortunately, that's Serbian culture, and I'm probably gonna dab that. Should remember that to do that. Like, the development in Africa is pretty decent. I developed a couple of provinces here as they have dies. Also, the AI developed this one to 19, which is quite amazing. I don't know if I'm gonna develop any of these. I might do the Savannah one, as it has ivory. But when it comes to Diplo, I will. Right now, I'm just in a waiting phase, wait and see what happens. Okay, so definitely the biggest contenders in Europe right now are the Ottomans and Russia. As for the Great Power list, right now the Great Britain is by far the strongest country in the game with 1000 income. His navy and the force limit is so high that pretty much it would take 5 people to take them down, maybe. That's just maybe. Now Malaya and Ayutthaya combined with perhaps help of one of the Indians could do some damage to Great Britain, but that remains to be seen. Also Prussia, I think Prussia, starting as Denmark, still has maritime. Yeah, so there is some possibility that Prussia could do a lot of damage to Great Britain, but I think they are currently allied, so that's very unlikely. Now Ethiopia was my ally for quite a long time, even though that came quite unexpected. It was more like ally of an ally thing, where Ethiopia was allied to Ottomans, so he, was just a natural thing that we ally up. Now the power play here would be to do this. So Ethiopia is currently losing a war to Tunis and Great Britain. I don't know why Great Britain is there, but whatever, not my thing. What I could do right now is claim throne. I just need more prestige than they currently have, which is not an easy task, but it's definitely doable. As you can see, they have my dynasty ruling their country right now, 44 years old and no legal heir. Hopefully that guy dies and we get the PU over Ethiopia. Now if Ethiopia is a player, that would mean I would have to survive his rebellions for one session until that land actually becomes mine and the player is kicked off from the country. Now, all that being said, I don't actually know how having Ethiopia in a PU would affect our game. Would that actually promote some coalitions against me, as in that case we would actually be a great power, right? So I have 1000 dev on my own right now, and Ethiopia has, I think, 800, but let me check. 700. So definitely would be a great power. That would be 1400 from half of the subject developments. I mean dev. So you would be around 6th position right in that scenario. Probably even higher, as I'm planning on getting purple land here. Now that would be a very interesting scenario. Would be interesting to see how that would work out. I would probably have to make some deals with some of the GPs. Currently we are allied to Austria and proxy allied to Prussia, I guess. I don't know what Ottomans are gonna do with their alliance with Pope. He had a deal where he should have been given Rome in exchange for help against France, but then Pope also kind of helped him against Poland and Lithuania. So he didn't end up getting Rome. It'll be an interesting, very interesting session. I don't think this is gonna be the last one. I think there are at least 2 more sessions in this game, and it was quite balanced game except for Great Britain. Like, it looked like France was getting away with the game, but I think he made wrong decisions when it comes to ideas, and that slowed his game down, or actually made him unable to fight multiple people at the same time. Once people actually have enough troops to deal with his numbers, then the quality kicks in, and then Austria and Prussia actually beat him. There's interesting wars coming in this session, I believe. Someone to keep an eye on is Russia. What is Russia gonna decide to do? He does have a lot of land there. He's probably gonna do another war against Qing, and or maybe even not, maybe even ally Qing and just go into either Ruritania or once again attack Ottomans, as they always do after a certain amount of years. And actually, by the positioning of his troops, I imagine that will be the case. Any case, the stream is starting in, let's see, a few hours from now, when I actually release this video on YouTube. The stream might actually start, but in any way, very interesting game to be played, and I'll definitely make a recap after the next one. See you guys, have fun.